Good afternoon, fellow Liberians. Welcome to Good afternoon, fellow Liberians, and welcome to another Constitution Forum. Again, this is your boy Benson Mason, and we're open to discussing some stuff right here. We we are going to be discussing a lot today. We are trying to make sure we get rid of two articles and move ourselves into another arena. We are going to be discussing Article 2 and Article 3 today. Basically, we'll be looking for the rights and our responsibility. We're going to be seeing a lot of things. Like I said, my aim and my focus is on the process of giving us our rights and our responsibility. What is our right? What are we? What can we do without being in violation of the Constitution? And what is our responsibility to the government as we have it? So until I start in a little bit, I want you to take into consideration and enjoy the time so that we can enjoy ourselves and have some fun. We okay. Now let us discuss and let us start with Article 2 of our Constitution. As we go through, let us take Article 2 of the Constitution and let us look at it for what it says. Okay, the article says in Article 2, remember, for right now, we are always looking at the structure of the state. In Article 1, we will do it definitely on the people. We're concentrating our idea, we're concentrating our focus on the people, on us, citizens of this country. That's where we focus our idea on. We focus our drive. We have to find out by the end of the day that we the power, and we give power to those that we elected to go out and do things for our benefit, to go out and make laws that will protect us, to go out and make laws that are equal and just. That was what it was all about. We then got to realize that when they say all the power, yes, we have all the power to institute the government, or we have all the power to change bits and parts of the government, or to change the entire government based on how we vote. We got to understanding at the end of the day that we the people can only impeach our leaders only by the legislatures, not nowhere other than that. So we we were able to show ourselves out that the people elect leader to represent them as a republic. So these people that represent us as they are the one who make us who we are. They are the one who make laws for us. It's incumbent upon them to make the laws just laws. We will go back into that later on today, and that was what we did in Article 1. In Article 1, we mainly dealt with the people, the power of the people, the benefit of the people, and that was what we dealt with in Article 1. We have come now, and we are going to be looking in Article 2. We're going to look at Article 2. And in Article 2, we will center down on the Constitution. The whole idea of Article 2 is the Constitution. The article to give us values, and it gives the supremacy of the Constitution. It gives us an idea of what the Constitution means and what it should mean to each and every one of us. Not to as a country alone, but to each and every one of us. When we evaluating our leaders on the Constitution, it shouldn't be because of our biases. It should be because of what the Constitution is to each and every one of us. If not, this is what is going to happen. We're going to put leaders over the Constitution. The Constitution is to be above everything else. Let's look at what it says in Article 1. In Article 2, in Article 2, it reads, Article 2, 1 reads, this Constitution is the supreme and fundamental law of Liberia, and its provisions shall have binding force and effect on all authorities and persons throughout the Republic. Remember, like I said, this Constitution, the forefathers say this Constitution is the supreme and fundamental. Now, supreme means is the highest. Nothing surpasses it. No law surpasses the Constitution. The Constitution is above every citizen. The Constitution is above every authority. Now, at the same time, the Constitution is the fundamental law, which means every law in our country should be based on Constitution. Every law in our country should be predicated around our Constitution. Because if the law contradicts, we'll come to that later on. But if the law is a derivative of the Constitution, and if the law does not violate the Constitution, then the law is a just law. Because the Constitution gives us rights, and our rights are not to be violated. So anything you do, the Constitution, the laws and the Constitution is above every individual and is above every authority. That's the final ending of the of 1. Okay, Article 2A is telling us that the Constitution and the laws are above the authorities, which means all be elected, and is above each person, which means every citizen. Whether you are in authority or not, you are subjected to the Constitution. The Constitution is not subjected to you. Now, most time we find in our country that people think that they are above the law, they are above the Constitution. So they go about and do things that violates the Constitution and violate the law. And people are afraid to arrest them because why? They think that those people are above the law. They think those people are above the Constitution. No. The idea here is when you do not have a just law, when the law is not meted out equally to everybody, if the law is not meted out with equality or with equity, people are subjected. People will often try to violate it and always say this person did it and you did not do anything. In law, they have something called precedent. So even if there is no law written and there is a precedent that is set, the law based on precedent will be able to be active. Okay, it becomes active until the law is written to cover that. What am I saying? If there is no law pen to penalize anybody who embezzle, and somebody embezzle, and by predicating of that, if that person is persecuted based on other laws, not a specific law, but based on other laws, on other statutes. Based on that, somebody else repeating it after that person, based on the same precedent, because that person was a precedent. Based on that, let me go to it this way. The Supreme Court recently ruled in favor of someone who is not a citizen of Liberia, who has citizenship of another country and have property in Liberia, is a Liberian, but because of the dual citizenship rule, the Supreme Court ruled that the person's property cannot be just taken from them. That's their property, and it should be returned to them. So the person got property back. Now, if somebody else has of property and property is taken and they go to court based on that precedent, based on that or ruling, his counsel can base his argument on that ruling, and that other person can get the property back. That's what you call precedent in law. That's what you call precedent in ruling. So let's go back to the fact. The Constitution is above every individual, and it is incumbent of us as citizens. It is incumbent on us as citizens to make sure that the press that that everybody obey the law. You see, that's the thing about it. People wonder why the Western world is different. It's because in the Western world, everybody is looking at everybody. Everybody is a security on everybody. If I'm driving behind somebody and that person takes that from the car and throw it out on the street, I can call the police and report that person and report the license plates and report the location the location in which the incident happened. The police can arrest that person and take that person in. Why? Because the report came out from somebody on the scene who saw it happening. And that citizen will be a witness for the government. Because why? The person saw it happening. Far be it better if the person have a video recording or not recording of it. That is it. The thing about it is there is always a rule, and everybody is kind of responsible for it. If again we go into the Constitution surpasses everyone. If not because it's your party that is in the ruling position, or not because it's your party that is in the opposition, not in the ruling position, means that what your party does that contradicts the Constitution mean you should find an excuse for it. No, not because your party is the ruling party. If they violate me, that no, you should support the Constitution. Why? Mark Twain says loyalty to country is always. There is not a second any time in any moment where you should not be loyal to your country. But he says loyalty to government is only if the government deserves it. If the government deserves it, fine. If they don't deserve it, do not be loyal to the administration of it. Be always loyal to your country. Your country is the only thing that you got that you will not leave. Your administration will change. They will move and new one will come in. That's the bottom line. Always be loyal to your country. Always be loyal to your country. We need to keep that in our mind. We need loyal to our country. So in this article, the first thing is that the Constitution is supreme. Let us remember that the Constitution is supreme. We should also remember that the Constitution is our fundamental law. Any law that is made, we need to compare it to the Constitution. I heard, I don't know if that has been passed into law yet, that the legislatures can pass the third lane. The question is, what is the third lane? You got a two-lane road, two going, two coming. So where is the third lane? The third lane, by description, is the opposite lane. So if you are traveling, I'm in Liberia. If I'm traveling to Ray Light from Monrovia and I'm in a Simcoe, obviously my third lane will be on the opposite side. So if the traffic is black, I can take the opposite lane in the middle opposite lane to go up. But the question is, what if the guy who is coming from up has no traffic? He too is a legislator. Does that mean the two of you going to bounce into each other? Or does that mean somebody going to go in the fourth lane? That means you're taking the whole lane. People, it's not a just law. It's not a just law. Just law means that if you know that you got to go to work and there's traffic, leave early. You cannot leave late. Leave early. Leave early. Just law means everybody must obey the law. The only time you have laws. The laws given are for leaders who have rights to emergency rule, to the emergency lane, or have rights to serene. Like for example, you have the emergency cars, that is ambulance, fire service, police, or the president, the vice president. These people have the right to emergency leave. So if those people are coming and they're serene, or the motorcade announce that they are coming, everybody gave them chance to go. But that does not come in for legislatures. That's not coming for legislatures. Legislators need to fall in line. Come leave for work early, and you got 103 legislatures, and everybody wants to be taking the third lane. That's not a just law. That's not a reasonable and rational law. It's not a reasonable and rational law. So again, it comes back to us being able to look at the thing and say, no. We object to this law. It is incumbent upon us to be able to express what we want. That's why our representatives who are in position represent us, and we'll talk about their own function in a little bit. But there's no law that should contradict the Constitution, and I mean, nobody should think that they are above the Constitution. The second part of the Article 2 says, any law, treaty, statutes, custom, or regulation found to be inconsistent. If you found to be inconsistent, keep that word in mind. If it's found to be inconsistent with the Constitution, shall to the extent of the inconsistency be void and have no legal effect. That's the Constitution. The Supreme Court, pursuant to its power of judicial review, is empowered to declare any inconsistent law unconstitutional. Now, when it says it's unconstitutional, when a law is rendered unconstitutional by the Supreme Court, when the Supreme Court render a law or declare a law unconstitutional, what the Supreme Court is saying is that law contradicts the constitutional provision, and for this reason, it is not to be obeyed, or it should be discarded. That's why they say that law needs to be discarded, needs to be taken out, cut apart, and thrown away. It is not, because it contradicts the Constitution. Now, that is the duty of the Supreme Court. That is the duty of the Supreme Court. But go back and let's look at the inconsistency of the Constitution. When a law is inconsistent to the Constitution, it violates the Constitution. The Constitution says everybody should be free to gather. But if there's a law that says, listen, you can gather only if they say that you are free to gather peacefully. But the law says if somebody come with a law that says, or they come with a decree that says you can gather only if we approve of it, no, there is no law. That law contradicts the Constitution. The Constitution doesn't say if we approve, whether you approve of it or not. The only thing the Constitution says, you can demand of us that we must gather peaceably. We must be a peaceful group. So we can gather and we can march. All you have to do is to give us the right. That is just an example. If the law comes out that will violate your right as a person, for example, let's go back to it. The law says, the Constitution says that education, to the extent of the resources, educational facilities and opportunity should be made accessible to all equally. That's what the Constitution says, should be made accessible to all equally. But when you decide to to look at it and you decide to make it for only a little or few people. If you're making education available for a few or handful of people and not everybody, then you got a problem. Now remember, that constitution provision say to the extent of the resources. So then, if the resources is not adequate to take care of everybody, the resources should be adequate to take care of certain people in a certain class. Then you deal with that class. Then you deal with that class of people. People in that class must have it to them totally. But remember also, the Constitution set another condition. The condition says that when you're doing it, when you providing education for those people, you should make sure that that education is for the people, is for mass education, which means a lot more people, and for the elimination of what? Illiteracy. So the question you should ask, are these people illiterate, and will this eliminate illiteracy? Will this help to eliminate illiteracy? If you ask those questions, then you are able to make the law for those people. But if you just come and say, well, look, this is the law, these laws, that law can violate the Constitution, depending on what the law says, how it is spent, and who are benefiting. The idea of having a republic is that for the mass majority of the people, not for few people. So when you look at inconsistent, you got to look at the inconsistency of the law. Let's look at it again. If you got people who think that they make law that say, or they make or they create customs or regulation that say that when the big people are sick, you must fly out of the country to get treatment. What happens when the poor people are sick? What will you do about them? Will you fly them out of the country too to get treatment? That's the question to be asked. And then when the question is asked and people cannot understand it, then you say no. That is an inconsistent law, because which means that the country are catering to the people who are in power and negating the people who are not in power, which is the masses, the mass majority of the masses. So you're taking people out of the country, but then why not equip the hospitals so that people who cannot go up, so your people who cannot fly out are treated in there. If you decide that, well, we'll take the officials out of the country, we'll take the elected out of the country, then for the electorate, equip the hospitals for the electorate so that it can stay. Those are unjust customs. Any custom that violates the Constitution. That's the idea. That's what this thing says. Any custom, any regulation that violates the Constitution of the Constitution needs to be thrown out. We need to throw it out. That's why, in as much as people don't like things, that's why you got to look at every law. You got to look at and see where it measures up to the Constitution of Liberia. Where does it measure up to the Constitution of Liberia? How is it measured? How do you measure it when it comes to the Constitution? Yeah. Everybody have the right to speak. Everybody have the right to publish. But everybody is responsible for what they say. So freedom of speech and freedom of the press, that things people take for example. Yeah. You have the right to speak. Yes. You have the right to say what you want to say. The same way with the press. But they are held responsible for what they say. You have to be able to have evidence of what you say. If not, you are held responsible for it. Nobody gonna take you for take it for granted. You are held responsible for it. And that's the bottom line. You are responsible. Whether you want it, whether you like it or not, you are held responsible. Okay? And that's the idea of you being responsible. You say something, if you say something without any proof, that defames somebody, that tarnish somebody's reputation, that person will take you to court and you will have to prove what you said. You will have to exonerate yourself what you said. And that is the law. The Constitution does not say, the Constitution is not stopping you from speaking. The Constitution is telling you that you are responsible for what you say. So you see, you got a responsibility. Each and every one of us have a responsibility. If we are quiet, if we do not speak, one comes our time to speak. Somebody, a brother was saying the other day, he said, when good people keep quiet, evil people strive. They continue to rise. Because why? And most time, Liberians, we are of the conviction that if nobody, and this is something that I know most, it's always our understanding. It's not me. It's not bothering me because it happened to me. Because it's not happening to me, so I'm not going to talk in it. Yeah, that's good. Be quiet about it. Don't say anything about it. But remember one thing, and remember it well, that one day it will happen to you. One day it will happen to you. Go back and think a little bit. I'm talking about people who were of age during the 1990 war during the 1990 war. Go back and think about it. The first day they came and they looted your neighbor house. Why they? The arm robbed them while they were in that house. And the people were screaming and you did not come outside. How long before they came back and came to your house? How long did it take? You know, whenever you think it's not you, that doesn't mean your time is not going to come. Your time will come. It may take a year, it may take 2 years, it may take 3 years. Your time will come. So when we look at the Constitution, it's upon all of us individually. I'm not talking to the person behind you. I'm talking to you who watching this podcast. It is incumbent upon you to make sure that these people are not doing are doing the wrong things, and we are not talking. No. Today, your party as a ruling party may be misbehaving. Yesterday, John party as a ruling party misbehaved. John did not talk, he was backing his party. Today, your party doing the same thing, you backing your party, and John is complaining. The reason it's happening that way is because we are not real to ourselves. We are not fractured to ourselves. We are not earnest to Mama Liberia. We are not sincere to our country. Why are we not sincere? Because we are subjective. We are not objective. To be objective is a great virtue. To be objective is a great virtue. And that means all you have to do is to look at it and say, that's not what is going. I'm not going to allow this to happen. This is not what is going to happen, not on my watch. When you do that, you elevate yourself to another level. Why? Because you take the country more important. You take the country more sovereign. You take the country more supreme, above everything, above your party, above your leadership, and you put the country first. You put the country first. When the country becomes first, that's what is most important. When the country becomes first. So you see, it is not the government that matters for me. To me, I always tell people it's not the government that matters. No matter the government we have, if we the people decide to stand up to these people, if we the people decide to make if we the people decide to make the right things, to say the right thing, if we the people decide to stand up for the country will pick up. The country will be better. But when we decide that, listen, that my party, so I'm not talking, that's what happened to us. Our country will down. Our country will go down. Our country will not go up. Okay? Our country will not go up. Our country will deteriorate. And when our country deteriorates, it's only because we have decided not to pick up the slack. We have decided to anybody accountable. We are just walking around and we're taking other people and making them and giving them the right to lord it over us. And then our country become a country of men and not of laws. I am asking you, it's your responsibility. It's your responsibility to step up. It's your responsibility to hold Mama Liberia. It's not the people's responsibility, the leaders. It's not only the leaders' responsibility, it is your responsibility. It is my responsibility to hold up. It is my responsibility, it's your responsibility to look at every law, to ask the question when you encounter lawyers, ask them the right question. It's the press, those who those who call themselves legislative press, those who call themselves judiciary press, those journalists who goes into the court to talk and to watch cases and to see them adjudicated. It is your business, it's your duty to ask the right question, to be able to educate the people on what happened. You went and you witnessed a case, uh, 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 a corruption case, where the country has taken somebody in, and you're not asking the proper question. You're not asking the question as to how can this person walk free given all these things, given all this evidence. You're not asking them. You're not looking at the law and saying, okay, but if this law is paying this way, what happened when this person does this? No. If you want to be a good journalist within a specific field, it is incumbent upon you to read and learn about that field. If you are a medical journalist, learn about medicine, learn the technology. I mean, learn the terminology. Okay, learn the ways and the practices. Learn how it is practiced. Learn what makes medicine unique. Learn those criminal part of the medicine. Learn the terminology. Know the terms so that when you're speaking to somebody, you are able to converse them relaxingly. Learn the law. Learn the legal side of medical practices. Learn the legal side so you'll be able to ask the person not only the medical side but also the legal side. How does it work legally? That's how you'll be able to do. The same way with the judiciary. The same way with the legislature. If you don't learn the different things to ask, you will only ask questions that are on the surface that basically anybody can take an answer for. Okay, you only ask questions that basically anybody can make an answer for, even a tank or even an elementary student can make an answer for. So you need to exert yourself. You need to be able for us to be able to put Mama Liberia up front and hard. Now, let us look at the third article. Let's look at the third article. Article 3. Article 3. In Article 3, in Article 3, it is our responsibility in Article 3 to understand our form of government and the power and the duties of our form of government. We need to understand how our form of government works. We need to understand the full bloom operation of our form of government, because if we don't understand the full bloom uh, function or form of government, we will obviously be left in a lot of speculation. And today, this is one of the idea that I know we're going to be dwelling a very long time on the form of government. Article 3 says Liberia is a unitary. Okay, it says Liberia is a unitary sovereign state. Keep that in mind. Liberia is a unitary sovereign state divided into counties for administrative purposes. The form of government is republican. Form of government. We will come back and read these things with 3 separate coordinate branches. Okay, with three separate coordinate branches. They go on to list them: the legislative, executive, and judiciary. Consistent with the principle of separation of power and check and balance, no person holding office in one of these branches shall hold office in or exercise any of the power assigned to either of the other two branches, except as otherwise provided in its constitution. And no person holding office in one of said branches shall on any autonomous serve on any autonomous agency, public agency. Now, this is not me. That's the Constitution. We'll calm down this Constitution gradually. Liberia is a unitary sovereign state. When you hear that statement, I want to back you up a little bit. Article 1. Or maybe let's go to the preamble. The preamble says, acknowledging with the vowed and as a free and sovereign and independent state, relying on his divine guidance for our survival as a nation, realizing from what I want to bring you to where is that realizing from our many experiences in the course of our national existence, which culminated into the April 12, 1980, when our constitution was suspended, that all our people, say what, are of one common body politics. This is what I want to bring you that. Remember, we are what? One common body politics. Down in Article 3, it says that we are a unitary state, which means we are one. The Constitution, both in the preamble and throughout the Constitution, continue to express to us that no matter our differences, no matter our religion, no matter our traditional background, our custom, our belief, we, the people of Liberia, we are one people. We are one people. That's why the preamble mandates that the government must practice and must publicize unity. Because we are one people, differences, different but one, different but one. It says that we are a unitary sovereign state, which means we are a one people sovereign state, divided into counties for administrative purposes. You know, the other day when I was in grade school, we had 9 counties when I was in grade school. Now we got 15 counties, almost double that time. And Sir Joseph the other day was asking for Montserrat to be split. When I remember well, back in the days when I was in high school, Montserrat was among the big county. Okay. It has now been shrink. And it almost looks just like a tributary. And there's a lawmaker who asking for it to be split. Lofa is still a big county. Nimba is still a big county. Bum is still a big county. Buchanan is still a big county. All these big counties, people are refusing to divide them. The citizens are refusing to divide them. But there's a lawmaker who wants to rather divide it to create the 16th county. Why do you want to create the 16th county when we got only 15 and we still have problem? We not even manage 15 well. We not even legislating the 15 well, but you want another county. Why? You know, counties are not created based on population. Districts are created based on population. Based on population, we create based on counties are based on population. So why is it that you want to demarcate or to divide a county? What is your what is the evidence you are putting forward that the county need to be divided? Is it the size of the county, the population of the county, the people of the county, the number of different ethnic groups within the county? What is the ground for wanting to divide a county? Not even a big county, one of the smallest county, Montserrat, that has the most population of the country right now. Why do you want to divide it? Again, people, the division is for administrative purposes. Let us look at the administrative purposes of the counties. But remember, let us keep in mind that we are a sovereign nation. Yes, we are a sovereign nation. And creating counties is not something we should just sit down and create because we need another country. Let's just go to space. Oh yeah, we need no. Creating district, fine. The more people are in a special locale, it's better it is a district. That district can create a city. Because every district needs to have a city. And every city needs to have a city major. So we need to create a district. We need more district. Fine, let's make more district. That means we have to have people moving into areas. But to do that means we have to make the areas accessible. So we must remember, as citizens, we are not looking for more division. Okay, let's split this place because we want to hire more people. Now, if you split Montserrat, it becomes incumbent that the next county that you form needs 2 senators. And depending on how many districts follow that split, you have to create a representation for that district. For if a new district is formed, you have to create a representation for that district. If a new district is not formed, then you will not have to do it. But you have to create a senate. You have to create 2 senatorial positions for that district, for that county. So why are we trying to look for more way to employ to burden the government with people who may or may not be doing the proper things for the people, for the citizenry? As a sovereign nation, this is how we operate. We operate through counties, but we need not to make counties every time somebody is not satisfied or somebody want to perpetuate themselves want to be perpetuated as senator or representative. Then we build county. The same way with Bond County, they said they must split Don County into 2, upper Bond and lower Bond. And how you call it upper Bond? Being County or Bongo County or Salaye County or what kind of, how will you call it? I know it's easy to find names. It's easy to name it after the biggest town. I know that. But the question is, why are you splitting the people? Instead of encouraging the people, instead of encouraging unity, if there's a difference between the upper and lower, encourage unity. Promote unity among the people. That's what you're supposed to be doing. That's splitting it up into different counties. So people who come up and they say, well, we need to split this into a different county, 2 counties, one upper, one lower, tell them say that's not your work. The Constitution says you should promote unity, which means you should bring us together. And build more district. If the more the districts, the better the control will be, because each district will need certain things. Let's take an example. Accordingly, a district within Liberia is formed by what? I think 10,000 persons. I think something like that, about 10,000 persons should be in a district. So if you got 10,000 persons in a district, if you do a census of that district, how many kids of school of primary and school going age, how many are above that? Take that statistic and let's look at it. Maybe by my next week, I will bring I will go on to the net and get me one of the statistics of the most recent demographic statistics from the website and bring it down so that we can look into it and discuss it. And take my suggestion or reject my suggestion of how we can develop Liberia. Because if we develop in Liberia on a district level, it will affect the county level, which will affect national level. Let's take schools. If we decide to build schools on a district level, and we say, listen, this year we are concentrating on building elementary school on a district level. We're going to be looking at the district. So then you go to the district. You look at the district, you look at where the population is, and then you decide to concentrate the elementary schools in the neighborhood of that area. So if your statistic shows you that out of the 10,000 population within that area, you have 8,000 persons of school-going age, and you look into that 8,000, you find out that, listen, I got 4,000 of these people are elementary school-going age. If I got 4,000, I can build myself 8 schools here, 8 elementary school in this district. If I build 8 elementary school in the district, each school will take 500 students. If each school takes 500 students, that means I have the rest of them is junior high school and senior high school. So I will look in that area and see how much junior high school. So I built 8. I started in this district. I started with 2, 1 in this in different 2 in different location. In the next district, 2. I'm building 2 all over where I need them. So at the end of the year, when you come to find out the beginning of the following academic year, every district will have an additional 2 elementary school. Every district will have an additional 2 elementary school. Well, along with the 2 elementary school in every district, I'm going to build me 1 junior high school, 2 elementary school, 1 junior high school, 1 senior high school. Put it in every district. By the time your 6th year has ended, there will be more schools in every district to counteract and to help solve the illiteracy problem. You have schools. What you have to worry on are the teachers. But as you progress in that arena, you will be able to take care of other things. Secondly, in every district, at least you need 1 major medical facility. In every district, 1 major medical facility. So while you're contemplating on building a major medical facility, put in clinics, mini clinics, small clinics, little clinics in neighborhoods. Assign 2 doctors, 3, 4 nurses. You got doctors, you got nurses. Assign them to work in those areas. You got student doctors, you got student nurses. Assign them to work in the area. Why? Because that will help to enhance the medical services for the people. Oh, I know you don't have money. I know the country doesn't have money, but the country got money to do the crazy stuff, the things that need not to be done. The country got money to do it. The country ain't got money. The country ain't got money, but the country got money for the president to fly around. Look, stop the visit. Send your ambassadors. Hey, Mr. Ambassador, there is this there is this meeting that's going on, and this is the country's position. These are the things the country wants. You have to go there, and I need this to come out positive. I don't need you to come back with me with negative result. I want it done and done well. If it's not done and done well, and what you're saying, I want to record it. I want the press to record it because I need to know what's going on. Trust me, when he go there, he will make a representation. He will make proper representation. This is for Mama Liberia. The people of the country will endure. The people of the country will benefit. You cannot develop this country by your own. There's one person intuition. You have to go out and seek it. I can assure you that while you work on goals, which of course I applaud you for, even though you're doing the wrong ones, but I applaud you because you did it. You made an effort. While you work on goals, if you are working on health and education at the same time, building schools where they are renovating the ones that you got, making the ones that you got conducive, and increasing the quality on the ones that you got. By the time you can get done with that in about the next 3 years, you will have made a mark in Liberia. You will have made a mark in Liberia. Oh, some of us still remember the late William Richard Tolbert when he decided to fight ignorance, disease, and poverty. His fight against ignorance was building schools. He said, look, instead of getting somebody from Grand Jide to come all the way to Monrovia for high school, he built a high school in Grand Jide, and he put in it a vocational training. So by the time you come out of high school, you now learn something to live on. The same thing can be done. You, the people, can make sure these are the things you should be as your benefit. Look, we don't want. It's just easier to say, well, let's build roads. It's easier to say, well, I need electricity. Yeah, those are things that we can say. But the primary, the most essential thing that will get you from one place to another, most essential thing that will elevate your opportunities is to make the opportunity available of education. Why? Some of us say, I'm not asking you for only literate education or pen and paper education. Educate the man in a vocation, and then offer him the opportunity to live, to exercise that vocation, to be able to be able to employ that vocation to give him a standard of life. With that is what it talks about when you talk about for administrative purpose. The country is divided into counties for administrative purpose. The counties are divided into districts. You got people sitting down who representing certain districts, and all the time you are representing those districts. You have not encouraged the government to build one government elementary school in your district. You build your own school in the district, and you tell the people, say, well, they'll see I'm building school. And you, the people, you sit down and agree, build schools. Yeah, you build school, you agree. But who the school for? It's not for us. It's for you. Build schools that are government schools and start to write things to benefit people, not yourself. The next sentence says, the form of government is Republican. The form of government is Republican. Republican comes from the Latin word replica. Replica. The replica simply means public affair. So there is nothing in the government that is secret. Everything in the government is a public affair. Everything in the government is public affair. The government must keep that in mind. It is a public business. It's not a private business. It's not a personal business. It's a public business. Remember that. It is incumbent upon you to make sure that everything the government does, you are acquainted with it. You are in the know. Now, there are some things. Don't misinterpret me here. There are something that the government will never tell you about, and those are things that you need not to know about if you're not in a need to know basis. The government operates on a need to know basis, and if you are not in a need to know basis, you will not know what the government is talking about when it comes to that area, because they're not going to tell you. For example, security. The government will not tell you what it's doing in the security sector. They will not. If you were of age during the 1990 war, you come to find out that the government always said, we got this thing under control, we are driving the people back. The government can't say the people coming, they're coming or they're coming closer. No. And that is because for your own security, for your own safety. Not everything is public, but some things, most things, the things that need to be public need to be public. Like, for example, when people declare the assets, it needs to be made public because that's public information. And that secrecy has nothing to do with the security of the state. If you want to get anything, declare your asset, publish it so people can know what you're going with. Your credibility When you decide to go for elected office, you are putting your life and the life of your family, the credibility or the morality of your family out there to be questioned. To be questioned. And that's why I made politics not for children. Politics are for the grown, the mature. So you got to be able to remember that. But everything for the government budget needs to be published. The government budget needs to be published. Everything about the government needs to be made public because it's a public affair. It's a public business. The government is a public business. But not only that, it's a Republican form with three separate coordinate branches. Three: the legislature, or they call it legislative, the executive, and the judiciary. This is what I call. This is how I call it. The lawmaker, the law enforcer, and the law interpreters. These are the three group of people we got. The lawmakers, they make the law. But guess what? They cannot interpret it. The makers are not charged with the responsibility of interpreting it. That's why when you pen a law, it has to be very clear. It has to be very clear and comprehensible. The enforcer of the law make sure that the law is carried out to the letter. That's the enforcer. And then the guys who interpret the law and explain the law, those who are not the executor, those who explain the law. Remember, we got the guys who create the law, the guys who execute the law, and the guys who explain the law. The guys who explain the law are the people who make sure that the law is explained the same way for John as it is for Paul. It takes the same mandate, it takes the same strength for John for the same crime as it did for Paul. It does not vary because John and Paul are two different persons, and John knows or the president, or John knows the senator, or John knows the judicial. No, it does not vary. It takes the same for everyone. That's why those who explain the law are important. One person make it, one person enforce it, one person explain it. So that's the three different group of people you got. Now, we will go into looking at the different functions later on. But just know for today that the government is made out of three branches. Now, every time people refer to the government, most of people just think it's the executive. No, the executive is the executionary part of the government. They are the administrative part of the government, the day-to-day working of the government. That's the executive. The judiciary and the legislative, these two branches of the government do not take care of the day-to-day activity. Especially, they look at it, but they look at it, the legislature look at it in terms of the judiciary and the executive. They oversee the judiciary and the executive. That's their own position. At the same time, the judiciary is over there to say, okay, man, Mr. Executive, you brought this, you executed the law, and you brought this guy. Now I got to explain the law to this guy before it takes the effect of what should happen to him, so that he can understand where he went wrong. So most likely that when he comes out, or when he is liberated, or when he is set free, he will know how to behave. That's the explanation part of it. So the judiciary doesn't only just, when the judiciary explains the law, it passes the person over to the executive to further execute it. Enforce, execute. That's your business. Enforce the law, execute the law. I will explain the law, and I will turn him back over to you for the execution of the law. That is the judiciary. Why the legislative sit up there and say, okay, let's see where the executive, what did you do? How did this happen? How did it happen on your watch? Judiciary, you should not have done this, or you did this. Why did you do it on your watch? These are things that we need to know. Explain yourself. So the judiciary
And the executive, even though they are accountable to the legislative also make sure that those people properly as it's supposed to be. That's what makes our country unique. That's why most of the time you hear people say the problem in our country is not the executive, neither is it the judiciary, it is the what you call them, the legislative. Everybody holds the legislative responsible because why? The legislative does, if the legislature does the work, the country will progress rapidly. That's the bottom line of everything. So we got these three branches of government that exist. One that writes the law, one that enforces the law, and the other one that explains the law. So know where you go for redress. If you need explanation of the law, you go to the court for redress. If you need enforcing of the law, you go to the executive for redress. If you need the writing of the law, you go to the legislative. That's how it works. Everybody got a strange function, and we'll go into that function more in detail later on as we go through the Constitution. Um, I could jump in and destroy some things, but for right now, let's drag it as it goes. Consistent with the separation of power and check and balances, no person holding office in one of these branches shall hold office or exercise any power assigned to either of the other two branches, except otherwise provided in this Constitution. Now, I think that is very clear. And to some degree, we have not, I don't think we've had people doing that. But what does the Constitution saying over there? If John Brown is or a representative, that means he's in the House of Legislature. He's a legislator. He cannot work in the executive branch of government, and he cannot work as a judge in the judiciary branch of government. He cannot, no matter how much he may be the best lawyer, he may have the highest degree, the highest laurel in his graduation. He may graduate with the highest honor. He may have several law credentials, international and national. He cannot serve as a judge in any court while being a senator or a representative. If he wants to be a judge, he have to resign from the House of Legislature. On second note, he cannot be in the House of Legislature and be a minister. If he wants to be a minister, he has to resign from the House of Legislature. So that these things are giving parameters at which people can work. It is restricting the movement across the aisle so that no one person can have real superpower. No one person can have real superpower. That's why the president is the president. He cannot be the president and be a senator. The president cannot be the president and be chief justice. That's why you got a chief justice. That's why you got senators. The president cannot be no minister can be can at the same time be a senator or a legislator. No way. No minister can at the same time be a judge. No. You can't. So these are positions that are not just favorable. These are things that the Constitution says no to. You can't be there. Now, that does not mean that you can't be a senator and be a lawyer. You can be a lawyer. When you go into the court to preach your law, you're not senator, you're lawyer. You are a lawyer when you go in the court to preach your law. Everybody say, okay, yeah, you are a lawyer. You are not exercising any authority in there.
You are trying defending people in there. You are a lawyer. To exercise the authority of the judiciary means you have to be a judge. You listen and you make decisions based on the law. You have to be a judge. But no, this law says, this constitution declares that you cannot serve in more than one branch of government. You have to be assigned to only one branch of government, except especially when you are an elected official or appointed official, as in the case of the judiciary, the Supreme Court bench. Okay, you can't be now, or yeah, the judiciary. Let's just say the judiciary. The next part of it says, no person holding office in one of said branches shall serve as any autonomous public agent, public agency. On any autonomous public agency, you cannot serve on the public agency. That's what is being said over there. You may be in that point, but you can serve on any public agency, not serve on public agency. You have no right, or no, you have no way of serving on autonomous agency. Every autonomous agency will be of its own making. So you will not serve on autonomous agency. So this is these things are things that we need to know. So when we see it, we can know. When you see somebody serving in both, you will know it, and then you will be able to speak up against it. It is incumbent upon you to say something against it when you see it, because it's wrong. It's wrong. It does not matter who does it. When it's wrong, wrong. And in that case, you need to say something about it when it's wrong. That's Article 2. That's Article 1. We have just gotten through Article 2 and 3 of the Liberian Constitution. We have just gotten through Article 2 and 3 of the Liberian Constitution. We have learned, I have learned, I don't know if you have learned anything, but I have learned several important bits and pieces of information that I have overlooked. I knew fully well that the supreme law of the country is the Constitution. I knew that is the fundamental as well. That's the things that I knew, but I also got to understanding and knowing about the inconsistency of laws that need to be rendered non-constitutional, and those unconstitutional. So what we do every time, you have to have lawyers that can challenge the constitutionality of the law and bring that into discussion with the Supreme Court. There are laws that we need to civil organization needs to challenge and take in there. There are laws civil organization needs to understand about it. There's a lot of law that we need to pick up and let it go out. So again, I say thank you for following us. Thank you for listening to us. Remember, it is incumbent upon you to know that you have the right. Do you know that you have the right to sue this government if a law is wrong? You have the right to seek redress and sue the government for executing such a law. Do you know that? Yeah. You have the right to sue the government. You have the right to take the government to tax for a law that's why you see, no. That's why in developed world say, oh, the people developed world. No.
You have lawyers. All they do is sit down and look at the laws. That all they do, sit down and pick the laws up and look into the law for what contract is the constitution. You got constitution. You got organizations that are constitutionally based. That all they do is to check the law, check the different laws, and check the implications, the applications of those laws, and see why it contradicts, why it violates their human rights and the constitutional right. And they take the laws and fight for the people. They fight for those people are the people that they call civil virtues. They're looking for the good of the people. They're not looking for their own and their own record. But again, you have to be able to want to read. You have to be able to want to know. Thank you again for following us. See you on tomorrow. And tomorrow, we're going to be going into Article 4, Chapter 2, and we'll start with Article 4. Most likely, we may do 4 and 5, or do part 4 and part of 5. We will revisit Article 6, and when we do, we will be playing Sir Joseph, or what you call it, Sir Joseph tip. We'll be playing Sir Joseph tip on his. We'll be playing Sir Joseph tip as it refers to his article on tertiary education being free, making it, writing it, and putting it into law. We'll be discussing that again. And during that time, I'm hoping and praying to have another person who will be here to help us understand what it is all about as it relates to the timing. Thanks for following us. Thanks for listening. And I hope to see you again tomorrow. Give me a feedback. Write your question at the bottom of this when you listen to it. Write in your question. Write in your statement. I always go back to read statements and questions. Thanks for following, and I'll see you again. Bye.